Okay, it looks like I'm live. Satnam aloha, everyone. So write down your astrological information if you want to, and your human design, of course. And today we're going to talk about the gate 40. So be sure to write down if you have the gate 40 or if you have the whole channel, the 40, 37, connect it. Let people know. And like I said on the community tab, I'll be doing Jordan Peterson's chart soon enough, and Russell Brand as well, too. People have been asking about Russell Brand. What I will say about Russell Brand is he is going through his Chiron return. So that means his Chiron has met up with his natal Chiron. So this is a time of wounding coming up, some great pain. And I noticed that it's in his fourth house. So this is connected to his emotions. It's connected to his early childhood. So this is all kind of like for him as an individual. And then, of course, as a collective symbol for the rest of us. So be sure to look at that. And then Elon Musk was the number two. I don't know much about him. He's kind of a mystery, but the chart, there's no mystery in the chart. Okay, so let me see. So people are writing things down. Yeah. Okay, so let's get into this right here. So we're going to be talking about the 40 right here. This is the human design transit chart. And we're going to be going through all the signs. So let me know if you enjoy that, going by your rising sun, moon sign. Okay, so the gate of aloneness, and the love of work are not. So this is the 40 here, and this here is the willpower center. So it's very connected to tribal consciousness. And that's what's leaving the planet. So here's a closer look at this. So this is the willpower center right here, this pink shape. And then this is the solar plexus. This is our emotions. And this is going through a mutation. We're evolving as a species. We're moving out of the cross of planning that we've been in since 1615. And it's ending in 2027. So we're already starting to feel this energy. And we're moving into what's called the cross of the sleeping phoenix. So we've got three states of consciousness, and that's reflected in this chart. We have collective consciousness, we have individual consciousness, and we have tribal consciousness. And tribal consciousness is what's disappearing. So in terms of the cross of planning, these two are very important in the cross of planning. So they're breaking down because the solar plexus mutation, this is our emotions, right? Right now it's a motor, so it's like a wave. So if you have it colored in your chart, you want to check out your natal chart, you can go below in the information box and get your free chart. If it's colored in, then you're an emotional person. You go through ups and downs, ups and downs, ups and downs. And that's the motor, right? The emotional wave, that's the motor. And if it's undefined, you're the receiver. You're more of a receiver of the emotions. So one part of the population is the transmitter of the emotions, and then the other part are the receivers of the emotional wave. And this emotional motor, right, solar plexus, this is our second gut, right? Our second brain, that's in our gut. That's why there's so much energy around the biome and gut health and things like that, because it's coming more into our awareness, like what is really going on in the gut. This is the second brain, right? The solar plexus. So this is mutating out of the motor, and it's going to become an awareness system. So what does that mean is that if we go back up here, right, this is our awareness system, primitive awareness system, which is our body and our physical health. This is our immune system. Then the mental, this is the mind, the mental awareness system. Each one comes with its own intelligence. And now we're evolving down here. And this is going to turn into an awareness system. This is the next evolutionary step for humanity. So a lot of the children that are born after 2027 will have this mutation already, but we're going through it. You know, you watching, because clearly you weren't born, you're born already, is that you're going to go through this mutation as well. Okay, so let's talk about this breakdown then. So what does this channel mean? Well, it's rooted in the bargain, right? Tribal consciousness is leaving the planet. It's rooted in the bargain. And what is it? It's all about support. So the bargain is with the tribe, I do this for you, and then you do this for me, and you support it. So if we look at this at on the global level, we can already see the breakdown of this, right? So the 40 is the one that's giving, right? Giving, delivering, and through work. And then the 37 is reciprocating or appreciating, giving back, and that would be like the form of money, right? So I give my time and my energy, my life force, and then in return, I have this paycheck. I have this paycheck, right? Or I follow the laws and the rules and the customs of my tribe, and then I'm supported. So let's look at it globally. What's a theme? We can see these themes playing out in the world already, especially around environmental stuff, you know, with the flooding and the fires and things like that. What are we hearing from people on Maui? What did we hear on Maui? There was no government support, right? The first government official that arrived was like 10 days later, the mayor who actually lives on the island. Libya, the same thing. We have no support. Nobody's helping us. East Palestine, nobody's helping us. Flint, Michigan, nobody helped us. Katrina, right? Received very little support. So we're going to see this more and more and more. And what it is, it's the breakdown of this channel. We're feeling the breakdown of this channel. These support systems, they're dissolving. They're dissolving because tribal consciousness has to be absorbed now by collective consciousness. The collective consciousness is absorbing the tribal consciousness. So when you start to see through this lens, right, this evolutionary lens, then the world starts to make sense and it becomes a lot less scary, especially when you know, okay, my house is burning down, like just to use a metaphor, my house is burning down and I don't see any way out. Well, this is the system that will show you, this human design system. And astrology shows you, oh, here's a window. You can climb out here. You can climb out here. So this is what it's showing you, like there is an exit door. And the exit door is you need to change and you need to evolve. We have to change our way. And one big thing that we have to change is work. So there's a lot of themes just with this channel, and I'll talk about them maybe in a future video. I don't want this to all be up like a deep dive into 4037. But I will say that it's marriage. It's the marriage contract, the 4037. It has to do with gender, the gender roles of male and female gender roles. It's the family, and then it's work, and it's our work, right? And it also has to do with social uprising. So it's triggering, right? This 37 is being triggered. That's social uprisings. This is the shadow of weakness or inequality. And the 40 is the shadow of exhaustion and the gift of resolve. Okay. So I want you to meditate on the work that you're doing right now, right? Because this has to change. Our work has to change. And if you actually look up, you know, to go into our conditioning, if you look at the word work, there's no joy. And I don't see any joy when you look at the definition of work. It's all like drudgery and obligation and duty and just something you have to do. The cost of living, even that term, it costs you to live, right? It costs you a price to live, just to exist, right? So that all has to change. These paradigms that we've been in, this is the Maya, right? This programming, the programming jail that we've been at actually has to break. And we're starting to get help. and support to see the truth, right? So the doorway in, and I'll go back to this 4037. This is the cross of the sleeping phoenix. So this is happening in 2027, and it's a 400-year cycle, right? And it's 2027 to 2438. And this is an inner technology revolution. So the technology, we don't get fixated on the external. Like, look at all the little great, the amazing gadgets that we've made as humanity, right? With the internet and the phones and all these things that we've done, and the electric cars and space travel and all that stuff, right? Well, that's just a metaphor for what's really going on. And what's really going on is this is being activated within each one of us. It's an inner technology revolution that's happening. So the cross of the sleeping phoenix is urging us, and these are the major keys here. They're called keys. These are gates that are being activated, right? There's no tribal here at all. Like, there's tribal circuitry in this chart. This is the tribal consciousness going, right? So what do we have? We have individual. This is an individual channel. It's called channel. And these are this is an individual gate, right? So, and the 59 is tribal, actually. That's the one that's left. But it's really individual. It's about following. So you're motivated to follow your authentic convictions with honesty. That's the 59 is honesty. To liberate the spirit. So it's all about empowerment. So this is how we relate to one another. This is the fertility issues that we're seeing out in the world. This is the breakdown of how we mate and we come together, right? The 6 is breaking down. We're actually in the 6 right now. The sun is in the 6th gate. So this is changing. The 55 is changing because this is the spirit, the gate of abundance or spirit. This is very connected to the solar plexus mutation. And then this is following your convictions. So it's about empowerment. And when you follow your own convictions, coming from your uniqueness, they're not coming from the tribe. The tribe is not telling you, you should do this. You need to do this to survive and you'll get a roof over your head, a job, right? No, this is coming from deep within you, your passions. And what happens is you empower yourself, and then you empower others just with the frequency that you send out. Okay, so this is the new cycle that we're entering. So we're seeing the breakdown, right? The breakdown, things are dissolving out in the world, and it's a reflection of what's going on. Okay, so let's look at the Mercury activation. So Mercury activation, we know we went that crazy retrograde period, but that we're out of now. So this is the 40 that started. So go back to August 2nd to the 7th. So Mercury is what we think about. And this has been a global cycle, a transit cycle, global. Mercury, what we think about. Mercury is the messenger of the gods, right? So to follow Mercury in the chart is very key, right? Mercury is the one that orbits the fastest, closest to the sun. So it was in the 40 from August 2nd to the 7th, right? And then it went into retrograde. So it went back again, back over the 40. And incidentally, it went into, it went direct in the 47. And that's all about ancestral that I talked about in my last video. Ancestral memories are releasing. 47, that's coming from the mind. That's the shadow of oppression. Okay. And then it's back in the 40. And why it's so long? Why is it so long? Right in the 40. It's not usually that long. Well, it's the middle of the retrograde. Went retrograde, then direct again. So September 9th to the 22nd. So this week, most of the week, it's in the 40. Right there, and there's the 40. So here's the mandala. All the planets go around and around. So it takes a year for the sun to move around each gate. So once it hits a gate, it's activated. So you see the glyph, right? There's the Virgo glyph, and look at all these gates fit into Virgo. And these are cusps, right? They're cusps. Okay. So we can see that we are there in the 40. And then Mercury's going to go into the 64. So there's the 40 coming off the willpower center. And then the 64 is up here, back to the head, willpower back to the head center. And this is the gate of confusion. It's the gate of confusion. So we've had lots of time to be thinking about our work, what we want to do, what we want to contribute to the world, right? What do you want to contribute to the world? So it's exhausting. So you may have felt exhausted. That's the shadow of the 40. I feel exhausted with the work that I do. And I was saying today, even look at the pandemic that we went through the last 3 years. Yeah, there were lots of cons to it for sure, like black clouds, but there were also silver linings to it, which makes sense because it got people out of their routines, the mouse wheel that they've been on. Just like I get up and I have this routine and I go to work and I come home and I watch Netflix and then I get up and I live for Friday and then the routines that we get in as a humanity. Well, it broke the routine, and then people got to really reflect. They got to feel themselves. They got some time and space to really reflect on their work, because work takes so much of your time, right? Think how much we work 40 hours a week, especially in the West, right? The 40 hour plus work week. Well, we got to reflect, and a lot of people were saying, you know what, I can't go back to this. I just can't. And this is the consciousness changing. You just can't go against your authenticity anymore. Not like before. Inauthenticity, or the not self, is not going to be supported on this planet, right? Day by day by day by day. Your strength is in your authenticity, is to be authentic and true to yourself. So just questioning and thinking, right? So the thing with the willpower center, because this is a motor, it's a motor, but it's a motor it's not on constantly. It's not on constantly like the other motors. It works. You use your willpower for a while, and then it's got to rest. It's like the heart muscle. This is like the heart muscle. It represents the heart too, right? It needs to rest, and then work, and then rest, and then work. And so we're really getting this lesson because people are with inflation and just the cost of living is increasing, and the 37 is not giving back. The 37 is not giving back to the 40. The 40 is like pressure to work, more work to keep up just with the cost of living, with your basic needs. This is this channel, right? And then, the 37 is the one that gives the appreciation, gives the money, gives the thank you for what you do, right? For us, right? This is the family, right? Thank you. The gate of the channel of community, right? And thank you through the money and the appreciation. And here's food, and here's shelter, and here's things that you can enjoy, right? And then you rest in that, and then you go work, and then you rest, and then you work. So do you see this inequality, right? The shadow of inequality is this balance. This is so out of balance now because it's breaking, right? So we're trying to stay with these old ways. I just have to work more. People are getting exhausted. This is the shadow of exhaustion. I can't do this any longer, right? That 37 is not giving me nothing, right? It's not giving me anything. This is little g's giving me nothing. There's no support. This has to break, right? So this is a time to really look at what is work for you. Well, we have to look at it as like we contribute. And there's this whole myth around, well, humans, if we didn't get them disciplined and they've got to do this and they've got to do that, well, they would be lazy. They would just sit around and do nothing. And sure, yeah, some humans will do that, but then you get tired of it. You look at people who retire. They get tired of it. They die early. You see this often. Men who retire that have been working so long, they long for the rest. Oh, I'm just going to golf and golf and golf and golf. Well, that's out of balance too. Right? So yeah, our work will change, but we want to contribute. The soul wants to contribute something to humanity. It's just part of our nature, right? It's part of our nature. So you want to look at how you want to contribute. And this is why it's good to know your chart, because your chart, it's going to give you lots of signals on what you're here to contribute, what your talents are, what your gifts are, what you're here to contribute to humanity. Each one of us is to contribute something. There's 8 billion people and there's only one you. There's only one you. So to reflect on that. So the fear, right? The fear that comes up a lot when we, okay, I want to do my soul purpose, and this is what I love to do. I would do this even if I weren't paid, but I need to support myself. I live in the material world, right? Tribal consciousness is the material world. Will I be supported? Will that 37 support me in this, right? Will the 37 appreciate me? Will I be able to rest? Will I have times of rest, like real rest? So those are the kind of the questions on the table right now. So why is it called the gate of aloneness? Well, the aloneness is the rest. It's the aloneness is the boundaries. You have access to my energy. No, you do not have access to my energy. So what we're learning now with the Mercury in the 40 is I can't be around negative people. I'm too sensitive to negative people. I'm too sensitive to people that are in victim consciousness. I don't want them. I don't want them in my energy field. I'd rather be alone, right, than be giving to the tribe. So those are some questions to consider during this transit period, because we're going to be hitting that 6. I think clearly the last day. Let me just look at my ephemeris quickly. And then we're in a new adventure. Mercury. Yeah. So on Friday, right? On Friday, Thursday, Friday. Okay. Yeah, Thursday, Friday, like early Friday. Okay, so just consider that, right? And so you don't want, when you're feeling that exhaustion, something needs to change. If you've had enough, right? I'm not surviving here. I don't have the resources that I need. Something has to change. Something has to shift, because this is showing us this is just going to break down more and more and more, right? As time goes on, this channel here is going to break down, break. Tribal consciousness is going. So it's about relying on yourself, right? With the cross of the sleeping phoenix, becoming self-reliant, listening to yourself, going inside and listening to yourself. This is the age of the entrepreneur, right? Gathering in groups of like-minded people, and your work is your contribution, it's your sole purpose. And many want meaning and purpose now in their work, right? They can't just do the bargain. I'm just going to put my head down and I'm lucky to have a job, and the paycheck's so worth it, and the paycheck's not worth it anymore, right? It's showing us that we have to have a deeper meaning and purpose in our contribution. And a lot of people are expressing that now. It's like, it's not enough. The paycheck's not enough, right? This bargain is not enough. So this is a generator lesson, manifesting generator lesson. Okay, so that's what I wanted to share about the 40 and the love of work, right? The love of work or not. Yeah. Okay. 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 I'm just looking at some comments before we dive into the signs. Okay. So Rumple Long here, go to Jovian Archive, jovianarchive.com, and you can get your free chart there. And I always, if you go to the my information box, you can find it too. No, this is we're going to do signs now, individual signs. So you need to know your sun, moon, and rising sign. And then we'll look at how this affects you. Okay, so I'm going to get my stickies out. I got to see what you guys are seeing. Okay. I think you see my whole screen. And we'll start with Aries. Okay. Okay. Aries. Okay, I'm going to timestamp this so people can, oh, what happened to my chart? Oh, there it is. Okay. Aries. Okay. So this is Aries, sun, moon, or rising. Get the wheel out here. Okay. So pipe up if you're an Aries, sun, moon, or rising, please. And there we go. Okay. So Aries. Okay. The other thing that I want to say is this, right? The self node. This is what we're leaving behind, this 32. Oh, the moon's in there tomorrow or today. The moon in the self node right here. So that's what we're leaving behind. And this is what we go towards, the 42.5. So with this, with the 32, this is the fear. This is also tribal. So leaving the tribal ways behind. And it's also the fear of failure. So it's the gate of continuity. And what's this gate of continuity? It's to keep the tribal consciousness alive. And it's also the keeping the Maya going, keeping the Maya. So this is discontinuing, right? The 32. It's putting a break in the Maya. There's going to be a gap so that you're going to be able to not be so conditioned, or most people that are on the spiritual journey will be aware of that. Okay. So let's do the range by color. Okay, where's my Aries? I just had it. Oh, there it is. There we go. There's the Aries. Okay. Okay, Aries, sun, moon, or rising. So you got it 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. You got it in the sixth house, of course. Aries, sun, moon, or rising. So work, that's the work house. It's double trouble for the Aries, sun, moon, or rising. So this is about your routines, and it's also the place of work, right? So maybe you're getting exhausted, right? You've been thinking about this. You're having a full-on experience of it, and it's affecting your health. Could be affecting your health, right? Actually feeling exhausted and stressed out, and insomnia, and all those other things that come with when you don't like your work, right? They did a study once, I'm just thinking of this now, with heart attacks. And you know what time most people had heart attacks? It was Monday morning at 9 a.m. Monday morning at 9 a.m. So if you're a generator, it's going to affect your health, because you're going to use that life right? That life force energy here that you can see. You can't see my thing, can you? The life force energy is in the sacral. Right there is in the sacral. So if you're a generator, an Aries sun, moon, or rising generator, and you're not using all that life force energy properly, then it's going to totally affect your health, right? And create a lot of problems. So with your work, I would say with Aries is to reframe it, right? From work, like I just got to work, the RAM, I just have to get up at 9 a.m. I have to do this JOB that I can't stand, and it's going to get more and more painful, more and more uncomfortable, is to reframe it to what's my service? Because the sixth house is also the house of service. What is my service, right? So to look at that, what problems, the sixth house, right? What problems can I help people with, right? Fixing a problem, right? That's a good way to contribute, isn't it? It's like, okay. I do. Am I getting more and more exhausted, right? And is it affecting my health? Is it affecting my health? So I'm going to do an ego card, an ego trick card. So this is the not self. So let's look at if there's a dynamic with the not self for the Virgo. Okay. So Virgo, sun, moon, or rising. And so there also could be, because the 6 and the 12 are connected, to like your work-life balance is way off. You're not taking time to rest, Aries. You're not taking time to rest. And you've kind of got lost in the hamster wheel. Right? Because it can be worry about work, worrying about your health. And this might be a good time for Aries just to relax and really reflect on their next move. Okay. Let's see what the ego is telling Aries, sun, moon, or rising. What's Aries telling sun, moon, or rising? What's that ego telling Aries, please? This one right here. Yeah. Okay. This one. So these are the ego dynamics. And remember, the ego is the not self. I use in terms of human design, I use the ego in a different way. The ego is connected to the mind, the ego in the mind. And the ego is not your friend. And the ego is is the identity that's pulling you away from your authenticity. So you have been getting intuitive guidance, Aries, sun, moon, or rising, but your ego's talking you out of it. This is what this is saying. So you know what you should do. You know what you should do. Your intuition has been telling you what you should do. Maybe you've been getting signs out in the world what to do. But then the ego's talking you out of it. And if it's in the sixth house, it's like, well, I got to pay rent. And well, maybe the ego's saying, well, maybe you've got bills to pay. Like, just wait until you get settled. Wait till things get normal. Right? Wait till things get normal again. That's an ego trick too. Right? And so you're listening to the ego, and you're not listening to your intuition about your work. Right. So this is about trust. We're the cross of the sleeping phoenix is a deep, deep trust in the self, your higher self. Yeah. Anything else for Aries for that? Yeah. You just need to stop and you need to listen and then make a baby step. Make a baby step forward and feel that when you really step forward in truth, that you will be supported, but not from these old tribal ways, right? This bargain. Sometimes it's just like the leap of faith and I don't know if the support network is going to be there. I don't know if my work will be supported, but I cannot not do this. It's getting stronger and stronger and stronger. And then you will be supported if it's right. If you really give with all your heart into the service of humanity, then you'll be supported. Okay. So that's what I got for Aries. And then let's go for Taurus. Okay, where's Taurus? Taurus is blue. There we go. So Taurus, Sun, Moon, or Rising. What have we got for Taurus, Sun, Moon, or Rising? Okay. The other thing that I want to say about Aries is there's the other glitch could be partnership, like partnership, people that you have contracts with, like feeling you're going to let them down or fail if I really think of myself and go forward with this. So just be aware of that because that's what you're leaving behind. Okay, so here's Taurus. It's not spinning. Must be some dust in it. Okay, so Taurus, Sun, Moon, or Rising. And this is about your work. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay. So it's taking place in your 5th house, Taurus. And this is creativity. It's self-love, right? It's a house of self-love. It's a house of fun, right? And it's about pleasure and enjoyment. It's about being emotionally connected to your work. It's bringing your inner child out. It's storytelling. And so the work with the 40 here, with the shadow of exhaustion, is saying that maybe you're not bringing joy and creativity to your work. Maybe you're going full on tribal consciousness, right? That's leaving the planet. I'm going on. I just got to do the drudgery. I got to put, like, I'm the bull. I'm the bull. I just got to put my head down and I got to keep working. And then this 40, what you've been thinking about, Mercury is saying you need to bring some fun back into your work. And maybe that's like those two are like in compartments for you, Taurus. Maybe it's like, no, work is work. It's not supposed to be fun. That's why it's called work. Well, this energy is saying, no, you got to bring fun and joy back into your work, right? With the 5th house, you got to bring your inner child and the playfulness into your work, right? So this awakens the divine child. So it's to be more playful in your contribution. What my contribution is, more lighthearted, right? More lighthearted. It's also the storytelling, right? The 5th house is also about storytelling. So what stories are you telling yourself? Because it's what we're thinking, right? Mercury, what we're thinking about. So you want to be thinking lighthearted and what can I do to love myself? What can I do to really take care of myself? What gives me pleasure? What gives me enjoyment with my work? And maybe what you're in right now is none of this. Well, that's a sign. If you're not laughing at work and having fun, then you got to switch jobs, right? And become more heart-based and to trust, right? So ask yourself the question, how can I bring more joy into other people's life? How can I bring that playfulness that we all have? We all have an inner child, right? All of us. We're not really adults. It's just children, wounded children in adult bodies, right? Or playful, joyous, divine children in adult bodies. Okay, so that's what that's saying there. And then the fear is, right? The fear is like, who will support me? For sure, Taurus. Who's going to support me in this? That's a question because of that 37. Right there. You see here, there's the 40 coming off your willpower. And then the 37, will I be supported in this? Will people support me in this new approach to my work? right? And then the fear to let go of, because you got it in the sixth house. So there could be a fear of failure just in terms of your work, right? That I won't be supported, but you're letting that go. You're letting that go. And moving more into like just a relaxed, playful space. That's what this is saying, and that you will be supported in that. You're not going to be supported in this old way of doing this old way of working. You're not going to be supported anymore. This old tribal consciousness is leaving the planet, and the benefits of it are leaving. You're no longer going to be supported in work and drudgery in the job. You have to show up. That's the message right now for the cross of the sleeping phoenix, is we all have to show up in our authenticity. We can't hide anymore. We can't hide. Okay, so let's pick an ego card. So this is the not self, Taurus. It's not you. It's that entity that's connected to the mind that pulls you away from your authenticity. There's no power there. This is tribal consciousness, is the ego. Yeah. So let's see what it's saying to Taurus. Taurus, sun, and rising. Okay. What's the ego telling Taurus, sun, moon, and rising, please? What's the ego telling us? Taurus, sun, moon, and rising. Taurus, friends. This one right here. Okay. Oh, stuck. Oh, that's interesting. Yeah. So you got the stuck card. The stuck. I'm stuck. I'm stuck. I'm stuck. I can't move up. Can't move. I can't move. The ego, right? So what's the ego got you attached to? Because ego is always attachments, right? It's got you attached to some childhood issue from the past, where it's and it's so appropriate, isn't it? Because it's connected to the fifth house, which is the inner child. So this is a refusal. The ego is refusing to grow up. Remember that you, as a spiritual being having human experiences, you're beyond this, right? You're beyond this, but this is this identity within you that you believe is you, that's connected to the child, right? The refusal to grow up. So the fifth house, it's all connected to joy and play. Maybe there's some pain, right? Some unintegrated pain from your childhood that's connected with play and joy and happiness and creativity and just believing, because this is what we do. We take on these beliefs as children that that's not for me, right? Work will never be playful. Work will never be fun for me. So it keeps you stuck. This is the ego trap that keeps you stuck, keeps you withdrawn, keeps you hidden away. So this is saying to let this go. This is an illusion. The ego is an illusion. It's part of the Maya, right? It's part of the Maya. You know, if you go play a video game and you have your little avatar and you choose your avatar and you play as this character, right? And then, but it's not really you, is it? Right? You turn off the video game, you're you. Well, it's the same with this. The ego is like the avatar that you've chosen to play in this lifetime, and it's not you, right? It's not you. So it's time to grow up. It's time to be an adult, and it's time to have fun and time to let this go. So if you're interested in childhood stuff, like I've got my Awakening the Phoenix program that takes you from step A to step C, right? How to do that work. Or just go, if you sign up for my newsletter, I have free meditations, but there's one for childhood anger, and that's a really good one to just start you off, everybody off, actually, if they relate to this card, no matter what sign you are. Okay, anything else? Yeah. Yeah. So childhood issues, that's your way out, Taurus, and that you will be supported in that healing. Okay. Because the child, the divine child is the creator of our experience, right? And how we not necessarily are the creator of our quality of experience. That's what the inner child is, right? Things are happening. And then as a spiritual adult, we're in charge of the quality of that experience. How do we experience what's happening out in the world? Okay, so that's for Taurus. I'm gonna put that aside. Very interesting. And then let's go for Gemini. Gemini. So this is Gemini, Sun, Moon, or Rising. Okay. And 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay. Taurus, Gemini. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. So Gemini. So Mercury's been in that 40. This is about your work, what you've been thinking about. And it's in your fourth house. So this is home and family, right? Your home and family. Maybe you got a home and family, your own little family. This could be your family of origin too, is the fourth house. This could be your mother, right? Your mother too. And so influencing your work, right? And influencing your contribution. What's your contribution in this lifetime? Yeah. And so what this is saying is that you need to comfort yourself. And it's also indicates you may be hiding too, Gemini, hiding your light under a bushel because you want that emotional security, right? Maybe your home, it's like, no, this would shake up my home. I'm getting this intuitive guidance to contribute in a new way. Like the 4037 is definitely the fourth house, right? That channel, it's definitely the fourth house. It's got the fourth house energy. And maybe it's just emotionally insecure, right? Maybe you don't feel like I have that emotional security. And maybe, well, here it is. Here it is. So the 40 and the 37, if we look at it in a fourth house perspective, am I giving too much in my family? Because it's your work is like what the exchange, right? With the 4037. The 40 is what I'm giving, what I give to my family. Let's look at that. I give to my family, and they're not appreciating me. They take me for granted. I'm just this workhorse, right? And we hear this a lot from men right now. If you listen to men in marriage, right? And this is the marriage contract, 4037. I just feel like a workhorse, right? I feel like I'm not appreciated by my family, things like that. This can be a woman too, right? If you're the one earning more money, you're the breadwinner in the family, well, you're the 40. Or you're the one that's doing all the work around the house, right? And your partner isn't doing much, right? Not giving much back to you, not even giving you a thank you, right? Or even a smile and appreciating you. That's what the 40 wants. It's like, I want appreciation for what I do around here, right? In the fourth house. So keep that in mind. And I'm not getting the nurturing. The 40 wants nurturing, it wants comfort, right? So what I would say here is to start giving that to yourself, right? Like emotionally nurturing yourself, but also express, right? Express this inequality and don't be hiding. And hiding is like, I don't have emotional needs, right? I don't have emotional needs. I don't need this. That's the hiding. I'm hiding, right? Just to be aware of that, Gemini. And 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And so the fear of failure, because this is what you want to let go of is in the fifth house. which may be about children, right? If you have children, if Gemini parents are listening, there may be a fear of failure that you can't support your family and your children. Your children may be an issue. Why people, and this is the 40. The 40 is like you got to sacrifice your authentic self for the bargain. The big bargain in this world is the moolah, right? This is the bargain. And that bargain is ending, Gemini. That's ending for the cross of the sleeping phoenix coming in 2027, right? So a lot of people do this, especially in family, right? We're going to stay for the kids, right? Let's stay together for the kids. This is the marriage contract. This is why this 4037 was so important in the cross of planning, because it was all about planning to have security for the children, to raise children. And now this is all falling apart, right? It's all falling apart. So what I say to parents is remember that those children chose you. They chose you as souls, right? They chose you for a certain reason. Yeah. Okay. Okay, that's what I have to say. That's what I have to share for Gemini. Oh, do we not pick a card? Let's pick an ego card for Gemini. So Gemini, this is for your not self. This is the ego that's connected. This is your avatar that you have and not out on the external in the Maya. Let's see what lies, because the ego is what's pulling you away from your authentic self. And you have to be our authentic self now. It's going to get more and more uncomfortable, emotionally uncomfortable with fourth house, if you continue to wear a mask and pretend that you don't have emotional needs. Okay. So let's see what this ego is telling Gemini. What's the ego telling our Gemini friends? What's the ego telling Gemini friends, please? This one right here. Okay, yeah, it so fits with this theme. So there's the ego card. Look at that. Deny. I'm denying that I have any emotional needs, right? I don't need that emotional comfort. I'll just be the workhorse. So this is avoiding truth, right? So you can't make this wrong. This is the old tribal ways. The old tribal ways is you suck it up, right? You just suck it up and you do the work and you don't complain. You're lucky to have a job. This is all your conditioning, fourth house conditioning, right? And so meanwhile, the truth is coming up. And the truth will come up through your emotions, right? That solar plexus is going through going through a huge mutation, right? So the emotions are coming up. The bitterness is coming up if you're a projector. The frustration is coming up if you're a generator, manifesting generator, or anger if you're a manifester. Disappointment, right? If you're a reflector. So this is avoiding truth. It's like sweeping it under the carpet, hoping it will just go away. And it's going to get stronger and stronger and stronger and stronger, because that's the truth. The lie is to suck it up. Doesn't matter. I don't have any emotional needs. So it's a refusal to look at people, right? It's a refusal to look at people. And so just with the fear of failure on the other side, it may have to do with your inner child too. So I look there too. So no more denying. Be in truth. Be in truth. There's a lot of power when you speak the truth, right? So looking at the truth, I want to look at this truth in this situation in complete honesty and truth. I want to shine a light on it. Okay, so that's what we got for Gemini. And okay. Are we at Leo already? No, we're at Cancer. Leo always wants to get in there, right? Let's see. Okay. Color. Cancer. Cancer, sun, moon, or rising. What's going on for Cancer, sun, moon, or rising? Well, let's see. Cancer, 1, 2, 3. The 40 right here that we're talking about today is, here. Just went away, didn't it? Yeah, there it is. Get it back up here for Cancer. Cancer likes to hide. Just bear with me, Cancer. Don't go away. Don't go away. Cancer. There we go. Okay. I just like to have my thing here. Okay. So it's what we're talking about today, Cancer, is the 40. And the 40 is all about work, right? And this is what's breaking down. You want to watch the beginning of this video to learn more about what I'm talking about with this channel, the 40, the 37. So this is how we work, and it's connected to tribal consciousness, okay? And it's breaking down. So our whole way of working and approaching work is changing radically. So you want to get on board with where we need to go, this new way of being. Okay, 1, 2, 3. So it's in your third house, right? It's in the third house, this 40. And so how you know that the way that you've been working and approaching work is you're in the shadow of exhaustion. You just feel like exhausted. You don't feel appreciated for what you contribute, right? You're not earning enough money. You're not getting appreciated by the people that you do deliver to. You're not getting the thank yous, right? And this is a sign that this is up. This is up for you right now. So this is about communication. So it's about you communicating the truth. And then when we communicate the truth, we have to start with ourselves first. Okay, I'm gonna be honest with myself first. I would also look at skills, right? With the 40, maybe you're being called to learn new skills, Cancer, with the third house. It's also social. Maybe you're being called to be more social. And it's about giving and receiving information. So if your work involves communication and involves writing or giving and receiving information, like doing podcasts or even videos like on the internet and things like that, it's also that would be a good place to go with the 40 there, because we are in the information age right now. And also small business, like creating a small business or moving into like a small business, Cancer. Yeah. Let's do an ego card for Cancer, and we'll get a fuller picture with this. Okay. But there's something out of balance. There's something out of balance. And it may involve your communication, because communication is just not speaking, it's also listening. So that may be going on for you in terms of your work. You're not being listened to. That's a way of not appreciating someone. So the fear of failure, because that's the self node here, Cancer, right? The 32, the moon's in there today, the 32, and we go to the 42. So this is Libra, Aries. This is tribal consciousness that's going to, this tribal consciousness is leaving the planet. 32 is the fear of failure, and it involves material things. So you may be afraid of losing your home because it's in the fourth house, or your structure, just your home and home structure will be too upset if I really go towards the small business and communication and these dreams that I have. to be aware of that. This bargain is going. The old ways of doing work are leaving the planet. Okay, so let's look at ego. So the ego is the not self that's pulling you away from your authenticity. So let's look at what's it telling? What's it telling Cancer? What's the ego telling Cancer? Cancer friends. What's the ego telling her Cancer friends, please? This one right here. Such a Libra card, but we got it in Cancer. So it's the go along, the get along. This is group think. So this is about your thinking, right? You got to get your mind right, right? Your mind's lying to you. And this is the ego. The ego and the mind, they work together. The ego is just another aspect of the mind. And what's it telling you in the third house? It's better to get along. And so you're in your workplace and you're seeing something, right? Something that doesn't feel right because you're Cancer. This doesn't feel right to me. I'm going to go along and get along. I'm just going to go with the group, right? Go with the group think. In the belief, what the ego is telling you here is that you're safer in a group. And it's not true. Not true. At one time, it was safe to be in a group. Way, way back historically, when we started coming into tribes, that if you got kicked out of the tribe, right, there'd be certain death for you because you couldn't survive on your own with the elements and the predators and all that and feeding yourself. And yeah, that's true. But now we're not in that time anymore. It's actually more dangerous for you, Cancer, to be in a group, And if you are in a group, you want to make sure that you're not in this group think, that you're thinking for yourself. You're listening to your intuition, right? So the third house is the mind. You're taking on the thoughts of other people, Cancer, and they're not yours. So, right? And so the ego is like, well, everybody else is doing it, right? Everybody else is doing it, so it must be right. And then I give all my power away. Cancer's giving all the power away. This is like tribal consciousness 101. Go along to get along, right? And that's like you'll go along to get along as you all run off the cliff like lemmings, right? So you want to be watching that in terms of your work and to your siblings too, maybe in this group think, right? This is the cult thinking. Okay. And not to be worrying about this fear of failure, whatever that means in your home life, right? That's another thing that you have to let go of. And you're moving towards something new, right? Something new in your 10th house, right? All the way over to your 10th house, and that's your vocation. Yeah. These thoughts are powerful when we believe in them. Just watch them. That's why meditation is so key right now. I don't know how people can survive without meditation right now. You need to meditate. And meditation just gives you a relationship between you and your mind, so you're able to observe your mind. Oh, look, I'm having the go along, the get along thoughts. I'm not going to believe in them, right? I'm just going to let them pass like clouds in the sky. Instead of this is who I am, the go along, the get along. Now I'm like this unconscious zombie in this group. Yeah. So this feels like a big warning for Cancer, right? To be watching that mind, what's going on in your mind. What lies are you believing that the ego is telling you? The ego does not want you to be successful. The ego does not want you to be in your power. Ego is not your friend, Cancer. Okay. And so hesitation, watch hesitation too. Yeah. Okay. That's what I have for Cancer. Now we can go to Leo. Okay, there's Leo. So this is for Leo, sun, moon, or rising. Okay, your sun, moon, or rising. And this is about how you work. And for Leo, it's a primo position here. So the way that you work, Leo, has to change. The way that you approach your work has to change. And it's going to take place, in the second house for you. 40 falls into your second house. Right there in the second house. So this is money, right? So how the 40 works, and you want to go back to the beginning of the video to understand this more, right? So this channel, this is what's called a channel, the 40th gate and the 37th gate. This is tribal consciousness, and it's the bargain. I give my time, I give my energy to you, to this workplace, right? In terms of your work in your community. And then the 37 says, appreciates you, right? Appreciates you, thanks you. And the appreciation, right, is money, is through money in the collective. So just because it's the money house, you may not be feeling appreciated. Maybe you're feeling like this is way out of balance, right? This 40-37. This is inequality. The 37 is the shadow of inequality. I'm giving so much and I'm exhausted. The 40, I feel exhausted on this treadmill that I'm on. I'm working and not getting back, right? In terms of my finances. I just don't have enough, right? I just don't have enough. Well, it's showing you something has to change. Right? Something has to change. So you want to look at your sense of self-value, because Leo has this big, it's like a mythology that Leos are so confident and they so value themselves. They overvalue themselves, and it's not true. It's not true at all. They worry, right? Virgo, Mercury rules their second house, right? So this is an issue for them. It's in their minds a lot. That's what this is saying. So this is your money and your resources and how you look after yourself, your basic needs, and something's got to give, right? Because this channel is breaking away, mutating out of our DNA. And so this is how you're rewarded. So this just means that you have to change your approach and how you work, right? So you want to ask yourself, do you feel like you make a good living, right? Do you have more than enough? That's all we need. We don't need to be the greedy meisters, like the billionaires, just the more than enough. That's all the planet could totally support that and more, right? So do you have all the resources you need to move forward? Like, really ask yourself that question. And chances are no, because the 40's in there in your second house, right? So we're letting go of the 32. That's the self node. And the 32 is down here, right? It's coming off the spleen. And this is about survival. So we're letting this go, right? We have to let go of this. And this is the fear of failure. So this is in your third house, fear of failure, your third house, and it's put, right? So you want to let that go, those thoughts, right? I can't because I'll fail. And fail means I won't have enough material resources, your second house. If I really go for my dream, if I really do what I want to do, I won't be supported. I will fail. Right, I will fail, and failure means I won't have enough. I'll never have enough. And so you want to be pointed to the 42, which is the gate of increase, and that's in your ninth house. So you got to change your thinking, right? You got to change that thinking. It's like Cancer, right? Look, listen to Cancer too. You got to change what you're thinking about, right? Yeah, it has to be more optimistic, elevate it, more of a worldview. Right? Like right now you're on the ship, you're in the ship and you're down tinkering, right? You're tinkering, you're putting fires out down in the engine room, right? And people are like, well, where's the captain? I don't know. He's down there tinkering. I don't know what he or she is doing down there. You got to get up to the helm. You're the captain of the ship. That's the ninth house. You got to see where you're going, right? You have to be optimistic. You have to have the big view, the world view. You have to have faith. Ninth house is faith. I have to have faith, right? And a positive outcome here. So you're in some kind of money trap right now. That's what I see with the second house and the third house, and they're working as a tag team, these two houses, right? With the money and the thinking and the worrying and getting yourself up into a tizzy about this, right? About your work. So let's look at an ego card for Leo, sun, moon, or rising. So the ego, this is the ego that's pulling you away from your authentic self. It's connected to the mind. Connected to the mind. So let's see what we got. What do we got for our Leo friends? What do we have? What's the ego telling our Leo friends? What's the ego telling our Leo friends? This one here. Okay. Okay, so what's this ego telling you? It's the defensive. The defensive. Do you see her? She's got her hand up. She's got her hand up. Stay away from me. So this is the ego is convincing you that everyone's out to get you. Everyone's against you. Everyone's an enemy. Don't trust anyone that gets too close. The ego is telling you that. Suspicious of everyone. Right? And you can also become defensive using the intellect, right? The ego is sneaky. It can sound like, yeah, you're right. Yeah, you know, but it's not true. So, and plus it's the intellect, right? And that's your third house, Leo. So that makes sense too. This card was completely aligned with that, with your thinking, right? Because the third house can be very logical, right? Of course, this logically makes sense. And then it pulls the ego's, and pulls you away from your authenticity, right? And it's coming in terms of manifestation of lack and scarcity, right? Because of the second house. Okay, so what's the advice here for Leo? I gave you some advice, didn't I? Optimism. Be optimistic, have faith in a positive outcome. Don't listen to any thoughts or logic, right? That pulls you down in vibration. And what was the other thought that I had? It just disappeared. That I know it's the primary right of the soul for success. That's your primary right as a soul, having a human experience as a soul, an eternal soul coming to have a human experience. Your primary right is success and victory. And your secondary right, if you choose it, is failure, right? So what I'm saying here is you're at a choice point, Leo. Am I going to choose failure? Then that's what you're going to get. That's your secondary right. It's totally your choice. Or am I going to choose success and victory? Okay, I'm choosing that. Well, then it's yours. That's what the ninth house is saying. Is get out of the third house, down tinkering in the engine room, and get up on the helm. Get up on the top of the ship and see where you're going. Right? That's what this thing is. And don't be listening to the ego with its lies. Right? It's worm tongue from Lord of the Rings. That's the ego. We're telling you lies, right? And you're listening to it. And more importantly, you're believing it, because it's not going to stop saying those things. But you have to go into like, no, I'm not believing it. I'm not breathing life into this, right? The ninth house is about your beliefs. So you got to switch up your beliefs. That's what I see here for Leo and work, right? And then this is going to be reflected in the resources, right? So the resources is showing you that there's a scarcity of spirit within you, right? So it's time to really bring your spirit forward and shine your light as a Leo. Okay. What else? That's it for Leo. Okay. Okay. And then we are at Virgo. Let's go for Virgo. So there we go. Okay. So this is for Virgo, sun, moon, or rising. Okay. And so we're talking about, where did Virgo go again? Virgo. There we go. So Virgo, we're talking about the 40. Okay. Okay. I'll be able to see that when I timestamp it. So it's in your first house, Virgo. So it's in your first house. So this 40. So you want to listen. If you haven't listened to the beginning of this video, be sure to listen because you'll learn more about what I'm talking about here. So this is tribal consciousness and it's about your work, right? So your work is what you deliver. So it can be your work. It could be with your family. It's how you spend your energy, how you give to others, 40 with the 40. And then the 37 on the other side appreciates you with thank you and gives you, and collectively that would be in turn money, right? Just appreciates you and you feel good and you get to rest and then you go work again. You deliver and that's how it works. Well, all of this is breaking down. This is tribal consciousness. It's the bargain, tit for tat. This is all breaking down. So this means that our way of doing and giving has to change. It has to change. The bargains is no more. The support of tribal consciousness is leaving the planet day by day. So for you, this is about how you approach life. How are you approaching life? This is how you show up. And it's about your identity. So right away, I would say maybe you have an identity of like, I'm a hard worker, right? I'm a hard worker. I put in the hours, right? It's a badge of honor here in the West to be productive. Look at me. I'm a productive member of society. I don't just lounge around. I pull my own weight, right? This is maybe this is an identity that you've taken on, right? And then you're not getting back. Maybe you got rewarded for that kind of identity before. Hard work. Well, yeah, here's overtime, here's money. Oh, thank you. You're so great. You're such a fixer, because Virgos are fixers, right? But this is not happening anymore. So you're thinking like, what's happening here? Something's changing. I'm not getting rewarded anymore for this role, because it's a role that you've taken on. It's a concept. It's a mask. First house is like a mask that you're wearing, right? So this is saying that your self-concept has to change in terms of work, right? So this is what you're giving to your family, the labor in your house, like, right? Maybe you're with a partner, you do all the work, and they don't pull their own weight. Things are getting out of balance, right? This is the 40-37 out of balance. And your self-concept is changing, right? This is really, really healthy. And it could be affecting your body. So it's not the sixth house, but it can be affecting your body in terms of your body kind of breaking down, because this is the shadow of exhaustion, right? So if you're having, and 37 is about support. So if you're having back problems, it could be showing you that you're not being supported, your body just breaking down, your knees are hurting, your joints are hurting, things like that. This is communicating something to you, these body problems with the 40 in the first house. So let's look at and what you're worried about. Virgos are very good at worrying. Is the self node, right? So the south node is what we're letting go of, and the north node is where we have to go to in terms of our evolution. And this is for the collective. And 32 is the fear of failure. And the 32 is very connected to tribal consciousness. That's leaving the planet. This is what you want to ignore and you want to turn away from. And you want to move more into the 42. And the 32 is in your second house. So it's your money. So Virgo may be saying, no, I'm trapped in this role that I can't get out of. And if I don't get out of it, how am I going to earn money? Right. And it's also connected to your sense of self-value that I mentioned before. My sense of self-value. I have this concept of me as being a hard worker, and I'm gaining all my sense of self-value from that. Right. But it's not working anymore because it's not in truth. Right, Virgo. That's why with workaholics, if they're really identified with their work and they get sick, right? And getting sick is like the body is breaking down, and then you're forced to stop working. Then all that stuff comes up that you've been compensating for, right? It all starts to come into the surface. And it's like, all that low self-worth that I've been running from and hiding by working, it's all coming to the surface now. Mm-hmm. So let's do an ego card for Virgo, Sun, Moon, or Rising. And we'll see that where the ego is pulling you away from your authentic self. Let's see what tricks it's saying for Virgo. Mm-hmm. And it's also saying in terms of your north node, because the 42, right, where you're going to, right there, that 42. Well, this is in your 8th house, Virgo. So this is like merging with other people, not doing things alone, right? Merging, partnering with other people. 8th house. Okay. This is sharing resources, right? 8th house. Possibly your marriage partner. Okay. If you're married. Okay, Virgo. What do we have for our Virgo friends? What's that ego telling our Virgo friends? It's telling us that. Oh, that's a big one. That's a big one. Okay, so Virgo's got the avoid soul purpose. Avoiding your soul purpose. So avoiding your soul purpose by getting caught up in this identity. I'm a hard worker. I'm responsible. I'm the giver, right? People need me, right? I earn the money. And so it's showing you that this is an avoidance. The ego is tricking you, right? There's an avoidance happening by like attaching to this identity of work, whatever that means for you, Virgo. And so it's choosing this instead of your soul purpose, right? Not choosing your destiny. And it has something to do with going over to the 8th house, right? And that's relationships, merging with others, not hoarding. Maybe that's the second house thing. It's like I'm hoarding these material resources where I have to share them with others. Yeah, and sharing. What else do we have for Virgo here? Oh, boundaries. Boundaries. 40 is about this, the gate of aloneness, but it's also the gate of boundaries. So it's also about having boundaries. Maybe the boundaries are like walls. Your boundaries are walls. They're not like no one can penetrate them. No one can get to know you, like the real you, right? Those walls are up, 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 up. And the eighth house is saying, take down the walls, take down the walls and let me see who you are, right? And to be vulnerable. That's the eighth house, is puts you in a vulnerable position. But this is not going to last. I know Virgos are stubborn nuts, earth sign, right? I'm going to stick with this until the day I die. It's like, no, this is breaking down, right? And your body will start to break down to show you that you're breaking down. This new identity needs to be birthed, right? And it's connected to this. It's connected to your soul, your soul purpose. Okay. And also the other thing I wanted to mention, Virgo, is because the 32 is in the south node. It's also in the second house of self-value. So there can be like a sense of failure. Right? No, I can't fail. I can't fail. I can't fail. Right? And it's just, and that's the walls. I got to keep these walls up. And the walls are your material, the material hoarding. You know, the walls have to come down and go transparent into the eighth house. Okay. So taking off your armor, take off the armor and go into the eighth house. Okay, anything for Virgo? Any more for Virgo? Okay. Okay, that's what we got for Virgo. And let's go for Libra. So this is for Libra, Sun, Moon, or Rising. Okay. Where to go again? There we go. Okay. Libra. Sun, Moon, or Rising for Libra. And that's happening the 40th, right? This gate of aloneness, the love of work or not, is happening in your 12th house, this transit. Okay. So the 40 is what I'm giving in terms of my work, my time, my energy, my life force. And then the 37 on the other side there. You can see the 40 and the 37 there, right? Libra. And the 37 is, I appreciate you. I'm going to give you money. I'm going to thank you. You're going to feel good around me. I love what you do, Libra. Keep giving, keep giving, keep giving. And then you get to rest, right? You get to rest. And then you work again. This is breaking down. This is the bargain. The old tribal consciousness is going. Watch the beginning of the video to learn more about this. This is going. The bargain is not there anymore. I'm getting, you can see it out in the world, Libra, right? I'm giving and working so hard, and right, and there's the cost of living going up and inflation, and maybe my money is going down. Maybe I'm not making as much money, but I'm getting squeezed. Well, that's this channel. That's just a manifestation of this channel breaking down. The 37's not given anymore, right? It's not giving anymore. So the old ways have to change. So it's in your 12th house, right? This 40 is transiting your 12th house. And so the warning here is escapism, not to go into escapism and fantasy. So Libra, just because they're a relationship sign, it could be like, well, the white knight's going to come and save me. Someone's just going to come and save me, right? That 37 is going to show up, right, and save me and give me what I need, right? So to watch that, escapisms, drugs, alcohol, going into some kind of fantasy, not rooted in reality. It's past life karma too, because it's the 12th house, so that maybe work karma, right? It's coming up. Maybe you've got Libra, you got some bitterness if you're a projector, you're frustrated if you're a generator, manifesting generator, right? Of this give, and I'm not receiving back. I'm not receiving back with certain people. Well, you may be paying off some karma. Maybe you owe some karma to people with the 12th house. The 12th house says it's ending, and the 40 is going to be out, right? The 40 is going to be out by September 22nd this week, right? So it's moving through. It's moving through your 12th house. So to know that, and it's also because you've got the South Node is in your first house, Libra, right? So the South Node's what you're letting go of, and the North Node's what you're moving towards, right? So it's in your first house. It's in your first house. So this is about your identity. So feeling like you're going to fail, like deeply, because it's in the first house. So that's a deep sense of failure, deep sense of failure. And the North Node, where's the North Node? Well, it's in your 7th house. So this is relationship stuff, right? This is what your soul wants you to move towards, is go from the 1st to the 7th. And this means to live for others, right? Live for others. This means not be going into this tit for tat. That's tribal consciousness, tit for tat. I'm keeping score. I do all of this, and then you've got to give me the exact same back. It's got to be completely equal, right? Everything's got to be equal here. And the 12th house is saying you got karma. You've got karma with these people, and it's time to start. And they're teaching you to move into service, right? To move out of this tit for tat, right? Because this is what the ego can get you into. Well, it's not tit for tat. It's unequal, and I'm going to go into victim. That's the 12th house, Libra. I'm going to go into victim, not understanding that you are an accumulation of many lifetimes, right? And karma has finally caught up with you with the 40 and the 12th house. Maybe you were the one kicking back in past lives, Libra, and everybody doing everything for you in your past life. And now it's time for payback, just because it's in the 12th, right? So what it's saying to me, Libra, is you have to take more of a spiritual perspective on this. Get out of this ego materialistic, this is all that exists, right? And I'm a victim, right? And they're doing this to me. So remember, not all is what it seems with the 12th house, because it's very spiritual, and it's connected to your past lives, right? So just be aware of that. And I'm paying my karma. I'm just paying my karma, and this too shall pass. That's a great mantra to have. This too shall pass, right? And go into that. I'm living for others. I'm serving others. 7th house. And there'll be joy in that. When we really embrace our North Node natally and in the transits, there's a joy that comes. There's a joy that comes because the ego, right, is getting less and less dense, and the soul is getting brighter and brighter and brighter. Okay, so let's see what the ego is telling Libra. Libra, sun, moon, or rising. So what's it telling you beyond what I just told you? Let's see here. Okay. We only on the 7th? Yeah. Just want to give everybody good reading them. Okay. What do we have for our Libra friends? What's the ego telling our Libra friends about this 40? This one right here. Yeah. You know, the gaslight card, you got gaslight yourself. So you've been buying that ego's version of what's going on in your life, hook, line, and sinker. Okay. So this is lying to yourself, right? You're lying to yourself with this gaslight yourself. So lying to yourself means that you're listening to your ego. You're not listening to to your soul, and you're listening to the ego's interpretation of what's going on, right? With the 12th house. And the 12th house is difficult to understand with the mind because it's the last house. It's the last house of the chart. And it's very, very spiritual. And this is where the boundaries disappear, right? And this is where we're connected to our past life stuff. Yeah. So it's just listening to the ego, talking yourself out of your feelings. And remember that with the 12th house, you want to trust your feelings, right? This is how the soul, because we're going through the solar plexus mutation, and the soul, right? The soul communicates through the feeling tone, not the stuck emotions from childhood, but the soul is communicating through that, right? The spirit awareness is coming through this emotional body. So you want to be trusting that, not listening to the mind. So spend some time alone, right? In solitude, and listen to your dreams too, because it's the 12th house. Like before you go to sleep at night, Libra, say, what's this situation about where I feel like I'm giving and giving and giving and giving, and that other person is taking. What is this about? And you may get an answer, right? Through the dream world. Yeah. Okay. That's what I got for Libra. Okay. Let's go for Scorpio. Okay. Scorpio, Libra's gone. Okay, Scorpio, Sun, Moon, or Rising. It's 1717 for Scorpio. So that's in your 11th house, Scorpio. So the 40th gate is activated in your 11th house. And this is your friends, right? It's your friends. It's the internet, right? So it's connected to that. So maybe you're giving, right? So the 40-37 is the bargain. Maybe you're not feeling appreciated by your friends or the groups that you belong to, like that have a cause, a humanitarian cause, Scorpio. Some kind of collective that you belong to. And you're give, and you're getting nothing back. They don't appreciate you at all because this is breaking down Scorpio. This channel is breaking down the 40-37, right? The bargain is breaking down. It's also the internet too, right? It's the internet. So if you work on the internet, you may not be feeling appreciated by your fans or for your followers. Okay, let's do an ego card and we'll get the fuller picture for Scorpio. Okay. You may be also called to change your work and work on the internet. That's another interpretation. Or work with friends that you trust. But the big sign, Scorpio, is if you're exhausted or if you're feeling exhausted around your friends and something's out of balance, something needs to change. Okay. Let's see, what do we have for our Scorpio friends? What do we have for our Scorpio friends, please? What do we have for our Scorpio friends? This one right here. Right there. Depression. You got the depression card. So this is also stuck in a rut, right? Like Leo. So it's a loss that you haven't gotten over. And it may be connected to friends, your network of friends, the collective that you belong to, not being able to move on with your life. You're exhausted. You're not taking good care of yourself, right? And you fear. There's a fear here. You can't commit to the next step for you. This is also the house of hopes and dreams too. So this would affect that. And depression is anger. It's anger turned inward, Scorpio. So there may be some emotional work for you to do. Remember that we're evolving through the emotional body right here. We're evolving through the emotional body, right? So spirit awareness, this is mutating into an awareness system, this emotional body. But first, these stuck emotions have to come up, and they're from childhood. So they're going to come up. And Scorpio is like a water sign, deep, deep feeler, right? Deep, deep feeler, Scorpio, sun, moon, or rising. So you may have some anger coming up that you're not expressing, you're not feeling, and it's getting manifested as depression. So this is stuffing it down, and it has to do with the network of friends that you belong to. You're not feeling appreciated with what you're giving. Giving so much to these friends, this network, or if you work on the internet and I'm not receiving back and it's making me angry, that's the truth, but it's getting manifested as depression, Scorpio. So this is about, and the energy will return. You won't be feeling so exhausted when the energy returns and you start grabbing a spine and start setting boundaries, right? So these are your 11th house people right here, the 37. And they're like, no, we're not giving anything to that Scorpio. And then you come in and say, well, I'm setting some boundaries because I'm tired of being exhausted, leaving you, right? I feel exhausted and unappreciated, and you don't value me. Well, you're not getting my energy anymore, right? So especially if you're a projector and you're not being invited and you're bitter, because that's depression too, Scorpio, projector, or frustrated manifesting generator or generator. Yeah, this is about setting a boundary. It's all about you. I'm going to set a boundary, right? And this will get you out of your rut. Because the thing with the ego is it can use this as an excuse, because Scorpio likes to get revenge, right? Wants payback too. I want that person to pay. I'm going to stick around till they pay. Well, that keeps you stuck in a rut because you're listening to the ego, right? And letting go, cut your losses, whatever your losses are. Maybe you've invested a lot into this group of friends and network, and this is saying you cut your losses, right? Cut your losses and stop giving. Yeah, no one can take from you. Only you can give. Nobody can take from you. Only you can give, right? And anger. And just because it's failure in the 32, so this is a past life connection. So that's why it could feel really, really intense right now, And you want to just go into the 6th house, which is service. I'm going to serve the people that appreciate me. Yeah. Okay. That's what we got for Scorpio. And then let's go for Sagittarius. Okay. Sagittarius. Go for Sagittarius. Okay. So this is for Sagittarius, sun, moon, or rising. And this is we're talking about the 40th gate here. And this is the gate of the love of work. It's the gate of aloneness. It's the love of work. So this is what you've been thinking about. So watch the beginning of the video to learn more what I'm talking about, because it's the breakdown. There's a breakdown happening. We're heading into a whole new 400-year cycle, Sagittarius. And that is in 12, 11, 10, in the 10th house for you. So the love of work happening in the 10th house for you. So this is I'm giving, I'm working so hard, and I'm not getting the return, right? I'm not getting the return. I'm not feeling appreciated. And so the 10th house, this is your career. This is your vocation. This is more than work. This is your sole purpose house, right? The 10th house. This is your reputation. And it's the status quo. So Sagittarius may be feeling like I'm giving, I'm working so much, I'm being a good citizen, I'm doing everything they told me to do, right? All my conditioning I received from a child, I'm following it to the letter, right? Sagittarius. And then the 37, right? Because the bargain here, right? I give, 30. I'm doing my part. I'm a good citizen, right? With the 10th house, the status quo. And the status quo is giving me nothing. It's giving me zero. I'm not getting the support that I used to anymore, right? I'm being failed, right? This 37, the status quo, they're not following the bargain anymore, right? This is the bargain. I do this, I sacrifice this, I follow the rules, right? And they're not giving back, right? They're reneging on their end of the bargain, basically, Sagittarius. So it can bring up some anger too, right? This could also be with your boss. It's anybody in that higher position of outer authority out in the world. These are they're part of the institutions that are falling. Right now, they're dissolving because this is part of tribal consciousness, is the bargain, right? And the bargain is breaking down because tribal consciousness is being absorbed by collective consciousness now, right? So things have to change. Don't do the same old, because this is exhaustion. If you're feeling exhausted by this game, right? I feel like I'm completely depleted. That's the old ways are dying, right? They're dying, right? They're dying right here. It's going. I'm dying. This old way of being is dying, Sagittarius. So let's do and so the sense of failure is around your network, right? So that remember that the self node Sagittarius is 32. That's what we're letting go of, and then moving into the 42 for our evolution. That's down here. So 32 is the fear of failure. So failure, don't want to look like a failure in front of your friends, right? Your network of people. Don't want to be seen as a failure. If I bust a move out of this career that I don't feel appreciated from, or the internet too, could be my internet friends. Some kind of collective that you belong to. There's a fear of failure there. And where life wants you to go is to the 5th house. And this is self-love, right? This is self-love, the 5th house. So moving out of this 11 and moving to you, right? Not looking to your friends. Well, my friends my friends will support me in this, right? I'm getting kudos from being in this position of authority, maybe in the 10th house of my career. And meanwhile, you're exhausted. Things are not working anymore. The old ways aren't working anymore. And then life, the transits are saying to go into the 5th house, go into that place of self-love. I want self-love in this lifetime. And that may mean taking some job is not like 10th house material for a while, right? But this is how the ego would perceive it. But maybe it's your sole purpose. It doesn't get all the applause, right, from the non-self world anymore. But it's not authentic to you, Sagittarius. Yeah. So it's kind of like this ambition. That's what I see with with this position here that we're talking about, is that this ambition is not paying off for you, not paying off at all. And you don't want to look like a failure in front of your friends. Okay. But we got to walk away from the crowd. A lot of us have to walk away from the crowd right now. Okay, so what do we have for our Sagittarius friends? What's the ego telling our Sagittarius friends, please? You got the glass is half empty. The glass is half empty. So this is addicted to negative thinking. This is the ego addicted to negative thinking, right? So the ego wants to keep you here, exhausted, right? Exhausted and depleted, no, not having any fun, right? But you're getting all this praise from your friends about how great you are, but still you're exhausted, right? You're not feeling appreciated from this. And usually the friends are projecting something on to you anyway. Maybe they don't want to do their soul purpose. So they just project, oh, look at her, she's doing so great. And she's got this amazing position in life. You know, you're amazing. I can't believe. And meanwhile, this is such a false mask that you're wearing because it's joyless. You're exhausted in that position. It's not enough to get that from your friends. I have to be the hero in my friend's life. I've got to be the one that's got it all together, right? It's not authentic anymore. So then you've got the ego telling you negative thinking. Well, if I leave, right? So if I leave this position that's exhausting me, then all these horrible things will happen. I'll fail in the eyes of my friends, right? They'll judge me. They may even reject me. They may even isolate me, right? So this is a pattern for you to drop. That's what this card is saying, right? And it's saying that you're listening to the ego, writing this nightmare story of what's going to happen to you in the future if you do this, if you actually follow self-love, right? I'm going to follow my heart. I'm not going to follow my mind, and I'm going to see what happens. What happens if I follow my heart and my own inner convictions? That's the cross of the sleeping phoenix, right? So not looking, you got to look at the glass is half full. You got to choose. It's like Leo. Go listen to Leo. You got to choose the glass is half full or half empty. I'm going to choose that it's half full. Sagittarius has to get back their optimism. They're an optimistic sign, right? If I follow my fifth house, this is creativity. It's the inner child. It's storytelling, right? It's having fun. It's being playful and carefree. That's where you want to go, the fifth house, and let go of these friends, right? That are going to reject you because you're going to choose your heart. They're not your friends. They're foul weather friends, right? It's a trap. So change it. Glass is half full. When I start to get too much into the negative mind, right? In yogic teachings, right? Everything that can go wrong. I'm going more into the positive mind. Because the chart doesn't lie. These transits don't lie. It's telling us exactly where we need to go, right? During this period that we're in right now. And this is going, it's just going to get more and more and more and more, and it's going to increase, right? This exhaustion until you finally break, right? So that's the 2x4 method of learning. And I know Sagittarius doesn't want to do that because Sagittarius likes the shortcut. Right? So take the shortcut, love yourself, and start to think positively too. Okay, so that's what we got for Sagittarius. And then we're at Capricorn, right? I did Scorpio, there's Capricorn. Okay, let's do Capricorn. Pluto is almost gone. You got like, what, 5 months to go? When Pluto finally leaves your first house for Capricorn. Okay, so Capricorn, Sun, Moon, or Rising. This energy, and you need to listen to the beginning of the video so you learn about what we're talking about here. Right, Capricorn, we're talking about this gate of aloneness, the love of work. Capricorns like to work. Anyway, 12, 11, 10, 9. Okay, so this is taking place in your ninth house. The 40th is activated in your ninth house. So, like I said before, Capricorn is the 40 here, right? This is what Mercury's been in. So it's the gate of aloneness. It's the love of work or not. So this is connected to tribal consciousness. It's what I deliver to the tribe. The tribe is like my workplace and my family. It's my husband or wife, my partner, right? It's the channel of community, what I deliver to my community. And then the 37 gives back with appreciation. So workplace, it would be money, right? It would be thank you, right? It could be, oh, you're so wonderful at what you do. And then you get to rest, and you feel emotionally nurtured, and then you go work again. And that's how this works, right? Well, this is all breaking down for this new cross of the sleeping phoenix that comes in on 2027. Okay. So that's all breaking down. So that's what we're seeing out in the world. Okay. So it's the 9th house for you. So what does that mean? Well, it's your beliefs, right? It's all about your beliefs. It's how you see the world. It's how you see the world. It's your intuition, and it's the search for meaning. So your work has to have meaning now, right? Capricorn, your work has to have meaning and purpose. It just can't be a paycheck. It's not enough for you anymore. You've been thinking about this, right? It can't be just a paycheck for me. I need something more in my work, right? My time, I value my time. I value my energy. That's what Capricorn's saying to themselves, right? I need to explore. Life's got to be more than just this, working like a slave, just to get by, right? Because just getting by is becoming more and more and more downward, right? Because the 37's not giving back. So the 37 in terms of little g is not supporting. It's like I'm playing my role and I'm working and I'm working harder and harder and harder. And the cost of living is going way, way up. And my wages are not going up at all. I'm getting squeezed. Well, this is just the breakdown, right? Till finally you say, Capricorn, it's enough. This is enough. I need more meaning. I need more purpose in my life. I can't go on like this, right? I can't go on like this. So this is bringing back purpose. It's bringing back your sense of adventure. It's forcing you to have faith and have optimism with the 9th house. It's getting you to see. You're on the top. You're the goat at the top of the mountain now, and you're seeing, no, I can't do this anymore. Something's got to change, right? It's not worth it. The money's not worth it. It's not worth it anymore to me, right? And so what you're worried about, because what we're letting go of, right, with the South node here, is the 32. That's the fear of failure. The South node's the fear of failure. So letting that go and then moving into the 42. And where's that 32 in your chart? It's the 10th house. So I fear Capricorn's it's a Capricorn house, right? 10th house. And that's where you need to let go of. So not to be so focused on your status, your reputation, right? My social standing. I feel like I'm going to be a failure in the eyes of the world. Maybe with my father, because 10th house is father too. If I do this, right? If I leave this way of working, right? Whatever work that you're in right now. And I really follow my heart in my new search for meaning, right? I need meaning. Maybe I take a huge pay cut with this 32, right? Maybe I'm making good bucks as a Capricorn. Maybe I'm making good money, right? But it's not enough. The 37's not giving me enough. Right? I need purpose. I need meaning. And that means maybe I take a pay cut, but it will be worth it to me because I'll be following my heart. I have faith and I have optimism that this is all going to work out. Right? So let's look at the ego card for Capricorn. And this is the ego connected to the mind. This is the ego tells us lies. What does the ego want us? It wants it under our control. This whole world is ruled by ego, right? It wants us under our control, its control, small and powerless, right? Not in our power, not in our greatness, right? So let's see what the ego is telling Capricorn, sun, moon, or rising. What's the ego telling Capricorn? What's the ego telling Capricorn, please? What's the ego telling Capricorn? This one right here. You got narcissism. So an inflated sense of self, right? So this is like believing the ego with the 10th house stuff, right? I'm just all that. You're listening to this ego. So of course, the narcissist does not want you to take a paycheck, does not want you to go down in social standing, right? Right? This is the disease of the ego, but it's not you. It's not who you are. You want to follow your heart, right? You want to follow your heart. So there's deep insecurity here and deep, deep, deep fears. So it's about letting that go, not listening to the ego, because whenever there's narcissism, right, when that ego is inflated, there's also a deflated ego. So when you get in this trap, right, you get in this trap, and the ego always wants to be the narcissist. You don't want to be the inverse ego, right? So this is a deep, deep fear of losing your ego identity. So it's telling me right here that you're attached. You're attached to your position, whatever you're doing in life. You're attached to some identity that's not real. This isn't real. This is an illusion. So it's time to let that go. This is the death. This is the death. And your Pluto in the first house, you're getting pounded. You've been being pounded since 2008, Capricorn. Time to bring it home, right? You've got until January to bring this home and to let this go. Let this ego go. This isn't who you are. This is like a tiny pinpoint of your greatness. This is nothing. This is nothing. So that's what this card is saying, to let this go. Don't be listening to that ego. Follow your heart. Here's my question to you. What gives you meaning and purpose? What gives you meaning? Don't think about money and status, right? And all that other stuff that the ego is going to come up with. Meaning and purpose separate from the money. Separate from the money. Put the money on somewhere else. What would I do? What would I do if I were just paid and I was supported? If I were supported, 37, what would give me the greatest meaning and purpose in my life? Well, that's what you're called to follow. Your intuition is going to let you know that's what you're called to follow, that 42, right? And 1, 2, 3, 4, and it's connected to your emotions. Your emotions. The 42 is in your fourth house. Right? Your emotions, right? What makes you feel like emotional? Like, I feel something. You're not feeling something with that 32 in the 10th house, right? It's all coming from ego. That's dopamine. And it's so like, it's gone, right? It's always insatiable. It wants the next thing. It's like, what gives me that emotional comfort, meaning and purpose? That's what you're being called to do, right? For Capricorn. Yeah, I'm gonna let this go. This is the virus. This is the pandemic right here. Narcissism on the planet. So you want to let that go. And then the real joy and the real happiness can come for you, not the false stuff, because it's all an illusion. It's all glitter, right, Capricorn? Okay. Okay, so we're on Aquarius now. We're almost home. Okay. So Aquarius, sun, moon, or rising. what's happening for you is this 40th, the way we work has to change as in humanity. 12, 11, 10, 9, 8. So it's in your 8th house. So the 40 is in your 8th house, Aquarius. And this is other people. So this is heavy. Aquarius is going through a heavy time, I think. So the 8th house is the dark night of the soul house. So it means you're going through some huge transformation, Aquarius, around your work, right? Huge transformation around your work, the way you work, the way you approach life. This is changing. So this is beginnings and endings with the 8th house. And it's also about how others value you. So the 37, you may be experiencing this like I don't feel valued by other people, right? I'm not receiving the support and the help from other people in terms of my work. I'm feeling like I'm going through some kind of crisis and trauma right now, like a death. The 8th house is heavy, right? As soon as you come out of the 8th house, you're changed. Mercury, you're going to be changed in the way you think. So if we look at the self node just quickly for you, right? The self node is we're leaving the 32. You see that? South node 32 and moving into the 42. This is for our evolution. So this is failure. And you've got that in the 9th house, right? You feel like a failure in the 9th house. And then you're called to go into the 3rd. So this is how you see the world, right? With the 9th house. This is no optimism, right? Feeling not having any thoughts of optimism, feeling hopeless, right? The failure, I'm a failure. The way the world is failing, just like pessimistic city, right? You want to let that go, that pessimism, this failing, like humanity is failing. Aquarius is like, right? Aquarian age. Aquarius is totally tapped into this consciousness that we're in. This sense of hopelessness about the world, right? Seeing the world that way, that we're failing as a humanity, that we're self-destructing, nuclear war, like all those crazy thoughts. There's no hope for us because you're in that 8th house, right? And what you're called to do is to go into the 3rd, right? So let go of those thoughts. That's not a good neighborhood for you to be traveling down, right? You and your mind and ego, it's not a good place for you. You want to go to the 42, and that's the 3. Okay. So this is saying, get your eyes off the big picture, Aquarius. Right now for this transit, get your eyes off the big picture. It's just too much for you right now. It's too overwhelming. And go back to the 3rd. That's what life is showing you. And this means go back to the people, your community around you. Who's around you now, right? Help them. If you want to help anybody, help them. And then it's not so overwhelming, and that will be empowering for you, right? It's just going into like, okay, I'm on social media. Aquarius loves social media and technology. It's like, I'm so overwhelmed. My mind is completely overwhelmed by this information. I'm going to step away from my phone, my laptop. I'm going to look around. What's around me? Oh, I got a pet. I'm going to a few friends, and then just deal with what's in front of you. Sweep as you go. That's what I say. Sweep as you go. Whoever is in front of you that day. It's like, this is how I can serve, right? The 40. This is how I can serve. Okay, so it's in the 8th house. So you're going through a huge transformation. So a lot of fears may be coming up of annihilation and death, because it's the house of death too. Other people valuing you. So you'll get, I don't know what to say other than just write it out, I know what I want to not just write it out, but just feel, because we're evolving through the emotional body, Aquarius. So whatever emotions are coming up for you in the eighth house, that's your work. It's just to feel as you go, feel as you go, feel as you go, and you'll get to the other side of this crisis. But this is all like past life coming up, like maybe memories of Atlantis and other cataclysmic events, like things like that. It's just all you have to do is just let it move through you and just feel. Yeah. And stay with your community, like who's the people you see every day, right? Stay connected to them. Yeah, because you're going through a huge transformational experience. You're in the cocoon, right? You're in the cocoon. Okay. So that's what I have for Aquarius. Our buddies Aquarius. And then Pisces. There we go. So sun, moon, rising for the Pisces. And what's going on for Pisces? Yeah. Well, the 7, yeah. It's in your 7th house, of course. So the 40, this has to do with your relationships, doesn't it? So the 40 is what you bring to the table in terms of your relationships and your workplace, what you deliver, right? And the 37 on the other side appreciates you. So in terms of work, they appreciate you with the paycheck every 2 weeks, and they say thank you, and right, I love what you do, and things like that, right? Well, this is breaking down. This is tribal consciousness. This is going away. We're seeing this on a collective level. And so for you, it's about your relationships, right? Your relationships house. So your partner, and I really feel, Pisces, that you're on the other side. You're on the other side of this, right? With the 37, right? So you're the one not appreciating, right? You're not appreciating your partner. So you need to appreciate your partner more and say thank you, right? To your partner. And in terms of failure, okay, because the self node, what's we got here? Pisces, the self node that we're letting go of. This is the 32 you want to let go of. And then the 42 is the north node, right? So we're saying bye-bye to that. And then we're moving to the 42. So this is fear, material failure, which is I won't have enough. I won't have it. And this is very tribal, breaking down, right? It's breaking down for the cross of the sleeping phoenix. And this is what we're called to go towards. And yours is in the 8th house. So the 8th house. So this is like heavy duty, the 32. So that is where do we go? So the 32 is in the 8th. So that's a death. It can bring up stuff from your past lives, this failure, right? And it's around your relationships. So it could be like very manipulative to look at this in truth, Pisces, in terms of your relationships, is I can't give too much. You know, the ego likes to play those games. Well, I can't appreciate the person too much because they'll get too big for their britches, right? And they'll leave me, basically. They'll leave me for someone else if they actually know how great they are, right? So that could be happening too, just because it's in your 8th. And this is maybe a past life dynamic. And you're being called to go into the 42, which is in the 2nd house. So this is to value yourself, right? So this is self-value. That it doesn't hurt me to appreciate my partner. It doesn't hurt me. It doesn't take away from my light. When I have my candle and you light another candle, it doesn't take away from the light of your candle, does it? You just light the other candle. And that's what you're doing with your partnership. So don't to walk away from this fear, because it's also your partner's resources. So there could be a little, these are deep, deep stuff we got to look at, right? And shadow work isn't fun. So to look at, like, am I motivated by money, right? What, in terms of my partner, that I can imply, my ego is getting me to play these games because I don't value myself, that they'll leave me and I'll have nobody else. And, you know, all the nightmare stories the ego says, because it's going on in the seventh house, and that's other people, right? Okay. Let's see. Or it could be no, just because it's connected to the eighth, it's going to be a partnership, a partner that you share resources with. Okay, so let's see what the ego is telling Pisces. What is the ego telling Pisces? What's the ego telling our Pisces friends? What's the ego telling our Pisces friends, please? Tell me what the ego is telling our Pisces friends. Tell me what the ego is telling our Pisces friends. That one right there. Oh, suppression. Suppression card. So this is about Pisces not expressing your authentic self, right? So this is about not delivering something, right? Because you're playing the 37 here in this scenario, that you're not delivering, right? So there's the inequality. It's the inequality between you and your partner. They're doing all the work, right? They're doing all the work and you're not giving back, and feeling like it's really about your relationships. And so remember, there's the fear of failure, and that's around your self-value. So I can't give too much because they'll leave me. They'll leave me, basically, right? So I have to value myself. And the suppression is, I'm not being real, right? I'm not being real in my relationship. I'm not being real and honest in my relationship. And if it's a real relationship, you can be vulnerable, right? You can be vulnerable in relationship. You can be transparent, right? The 59, the cross of the sleeping phoenix that we're entering into in 2027 to 2040, these are the keys to 2438, right? Is right here, you've got the 59. These are major themes. So you're motivated, right? You're motivated to follow your authentic convictions. This means being your authentic self with honesty to liberate your spirit. It's empowering. And look at that number there, 59. This is about being honest in your relationships, being transparent. That's the city, transparency and intimacy, right? So, so the suppression, this is the ego is telling you to suppress your authentic self, that you will not be loved if you show who you really are to your partner, right? And if you can't show that to your partner, who can you show it to, right? This is the game. These are the tribal games, right? This tribal consciousness that's leaving. You got to keep the 59, right? The dishonesty. You got to keep your cards close to your chest. You can't show too much because they'll use it as ammunition down the road on you. There's a deep distrust in your relationship, right? These are the ego games. So the card here is distortion. The ego is saying that just bury that, suppression, suppress my authenticity, which means suppress my vulnerability, right? Suppress this. And this is going to lead to distortion. It leads to distortion. And there's a great saying, what you don't deliver, which is your soul, what you don't deliver, because you got to jump into that 40 now and start giving back, delivering. If you don't deliver, it's going to destroy you. That's a spiritual teaching. What you don't deliver will destroy you, right? So it will create health problems or problems just in your relationship. It will create problems because you're suppressing, right? You're suppressing. So, and it also creates obsessive thinking, right? That's another symptom of when we suppress energy, creates suppressive, because the mind is trying to control this energy too, right? So you want to deliver, start to deliver yourself, start to be honest in your relationship, start to appreciate your partner like in a real, authentic way, and have this sense of self-value. No, they're not going to leave me. Right? They're not going to leave me. I value myself. Don't play these games, these ego games. Okay. So that's what I have for you. And hopefully you stuck. I don't know if anybody stuck to the end. I'm still here though, but I've got to get my puppy to the park soon. So let me know if you appreciate what I've given. I've just did my 40 with you guys. If you appreciate the sun, moon, and rising, because I haven't done this for a while, and my intuition really called me to do it today. And then I want to get those celebrity charts out too, so you get a sense of like the amazing system this human design system. And I just love it. The deeper I study, because I've been really studying it since 2005, like on and off, but I've really started to make the commitment to go deeper with this, because it's really, this is the time. And even Hugh, the founder of the founder of human design, that was downloaded in 1988 or 1987, the harmonic convergence, he said it was really for the future and really for the children. So it's really for about the time that we're in right now, coming to 2027. So I really want to get this information out. So go to my website. I also have free meditations too through my newsletter. So sign up for my newsletter to stay connected, and then check out my readings. And you can just start with a basic one, and that's $49. And that will really get you started on your type and what food you're supposed to eat and how your awareness system works, and some other things too. And that includes a meditation too. And then the one-on-one, which is the best value for your money. Okay. So have a great day, evening, wherever you are in the world. And I look forward to seeing your comments below. Okay. So Satnam Aloha, everyone. Bye.